private hospital or government hospital for antenatal or childbirth? Part 1. Okay, hello guys, welcome to the space where I share tips about motherhood, childcare, and maternity generally. So today, I want to talk about the differences between private hospitals and government hospitals when it comes to childbirth or your antenatal. That if you are a new mom or you just found out you're pregnant and you need antenatal care, please, antenatal is very important. For those people who say, "Oh, I'll just stay at home and just get the drugs from the pharmacy," and my sister, pray you don't have complications. Yes, you have to pray because there are some things that small B complex and folic acid and stuff that you take might not figure out for you. So you need proper antenatal care, especially if you are a first-time mom. Okay, so for someone like me, I have been to both private hospitals and government hospitals. When I wanted to have my baby, I went to both, and these are the differences I could tell. Now, if you are someone, you know, who is very conscious of time, you like everything to be on time, you don't like to waste time on anything, please stay in private hospital because government hospital will waste your time. That is what they are known for. They will waste your time. So if you are going for your antenatal, just clear out your schedule for that day because you would be going back home till evening or night even. So please take note of that. Now, the second thing to take note of is expertise. Which one has better medical personnel that actually know what they are doing? In private hospitals, in many private hospitals, they are nurses sometimes are not real nurses. They are auxiliary nurses. Yes, it depends. Now, everything I'm saying in this video is subject to hospitals and all of that. But generally speaking, most times the doctors found in private hospitals are contracted from government hospitals. So if expertise is what you're looking for, anyway, just like I said earlier, just pray that your childbirth is without complications. Because if it is, then you will have a big problem with private hospitals because they might not be able to handle it. And most of the time, they will have to refer you to a government hospital when it is out of their control. So if you are, if you are to go for private, please make sure it is a very, very good private hospital that has a good professional team of doctors and nurses, right? So that you are not caught in the web, okay? You don't want to do that. Then another thing to consider, government hospital, they go on strike. This one, if you are in Nigeria here, you know how it goes. Government hospitals go on strike from time to time. So you will just have to pray fervently that your due date does not fall at the time where they are currently having a strike because they won't attend to you and then you have to go to a private hospital. So that is a very, very important thing to consider when choosing either a private or a government hospital. They can be on strike. And that part is actually very scary, right? In my own time, I had to register with both private and government hospital to just be on the safe side. But eventually I used the government hospital and my experience there, I would say, was very, very fair. Now, okay, still going on. If you're a kind of person who loves attention, you love when people wait on you hand and foot, you don't want people shouting at you, you're too calm, you're too polished to be yelled at and all of that. Please stay go private hospital. Go to private hospital. Because if you go to governments, those nurses will yell at you. They will yell at you. I think now they are even better now because before I went there, I heard a whole lot of stories about government hospitals, and I was so scared, but I just got out my like whatever happens, I can take it. And funny enough, they were not as bad as I had hoped or I had expected them to be. The nurses were actually pretty friendly, probably not too friendly, but to a large extent compared to all the negative things I'd heard about government hospitals nurses. It was quite a different experience, and so you can go to private if you want someone to pamper you and all that. Because in government hospital, the moment you have your baby, they hands off. You'll be the one carrying yourself. In fact, they just leave you to yourself. You will handle yourself by yourself. Nobody is pampering. Nobody is helping you to carry your baby. They will give you your baby straight. So whatever you want to do with your baby, do. If you like, say, my leg is paining, I cannot stand. Oh, you will stand with your baby. They don't pamper there. So that is another thing to consider. Then now let's talk about the cost, right? So private hospitals obviously will charge more, especially if you have to do a cesarean section, you would have to pay quite a good amount of money, right? Depends on the hospital anyway. And but for government hospitals, it is pretty it's not so different when after I estimated it, calculated everything I had to pay, it was still very high. So private hospitals are probably higher, but government hospitals are not cheap either. If you are going to government hospitals now, if it's except it is natural birth, if it's natural birth, it is quite minimal. But if you have to do a cesarean section, it's quite a lot. So when they gather the whole money together, You know, they can be giving you in bits and pieces. This one, this one, this one. You think it is small, but when it is summed up together, my brother, my sister, it's gonna amount to quite a huge amount of money. So, but relatively, why government hospitals are more affordable than private hospitals here in Nigeria, right? Another thing is equipment. I think government hospitals have better equipment now. Before they didn't used to have, but now the equipment in government hospitals, I can tell you that for free, that they are top notch, top notch. That's why I said earlier that if you have complications in a private hospital, they will definitely refer you to a government hospital. But when they refer you to a government hospital, the government hospital will not fall for you. They'll not be like you have to, they'll not start stressing you and all of that because you were not registered with them in the first place, right? So if we're talking about equipment, government hospitals have better equipment. They have better workforce, better, they have many doctors and nurses at their disposal, as I said before, not just equipment, but manpower. They have lots of professionals at their beck and call, right? Compared to the private hospital where you might just have two nurses on duty and one doctor that comes in every once in a while. So there's so many differences, so many differences between the private and the government hospital. So you just have to sit down well and think about it through and through.